1, 1500 Jefferson. See you can play in the lobby.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Luke Moretti of Eyewitness News. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight for another edition of Taking Back the Streets. As you can see, we are live on Buffalo's East Side tonight. We're here once again to talk about the real problem of violence in the Queen City. What can be done about it? And as we said before when we had the program that was several weeks ago, we didn't expect to find solutions right away, but at least we've begun the dialogue. We got people talking. We should point out that on the last program, we had a lot of adults on the program, more specifically politicians, people in suits talking about what they think should be done. And it occurred to us at that particular moment that we were lacking something in the program. And what we were lacking is young kids, the kids on the streets, the future generations, those who have a feeling of hopelessness, despair, not quite sure what to do with the future. And we thought we should devote a program to just kids, young adults in this community, some who have been teetering on the edge, some who have turned negatives around and turned them into positives and are starting to make a difference in this community now. They're going to share some of those stories tonight, and they're going to talk about how difficult it has been, everything from school to their home life to life on the streets, and how they're trying to make a difference. And I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to learn something tonight. We have a group right here joining us. I'd like to talk to you. Hi, how are you? And you guys represent
Buffalo Boys and Girls Club.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you coming out. What do we need to hear tonight? What should we be talking about?
We should be trying to help make our community a better place and stop the violence.
We had heard on the last program that a lot of the problem was there's a lack of communication between adults and young people. Do you find that to be the case, and has that been a real problem?
In some situations, yeah.
Now, you guys have some stories about some of the positive things that you're doing in your organization as well.
Right, yes.
You'll be sharing that tonight with us.
Yes, I will.
Okay, thanks a lot. Why don't you guys go inside? And we should point out here that we're at the William Emsley YMCA here on Buffalo's East Side. And in just a moment, we're going to be going inside to join a group discussion. We've assembled a panel, and we have an audience tonight. And everybody in there practically are young kids. And they've come here for the reason to share their stories and kind of come up to the table, step up to the plate, and add something to this discussion that we're having. Hi, folks. Welcome. Nice to have you here. Where are you from?
William Emsley Y.
Okay. What do we need to be talking about tonight? And tell me why you're here. What would you like to get across to the people who will be listening and watching this?
I think we need to stop the violence.
And how do we do that?
By, taking the guns away, stopping the arguing and stuff.
And what about the communication factor between adults and young people? What do you think? Is there enough of it?
The communication barriers need to be broken down between the adults and the young people, and communication needs to be better between us so that they can hear what we have to say and we can hear what they have to say as well.
If people take nothing else out of this discussion tonight that they're going to be hearing, what should they walk away with?
A lesson.
And what's that lesson?
That violence isn't the key.
Thank you very much. Why don't you guys go inside? Let's all go inside. Go right through that door over there. Walk right around. We're going to begin our discussion here at the YMCA on Buffalo's East Side. Yeah, it is very interesting because as we were talking earlier after the last program, we said, we have to get some young kids involved and to get their feelings on what's happening. As I switch mics here, I want to get out a new mic so that people can be able to hear us. But we're going to come inside and where we have assembled a lot of people who have some things to talk about. And as I said before, this is really a time that I think we can explore some new avenues. Perhaps we can walk away with some important information, not only for young kids, but also for adults as well. I'd like to introduce my co-host tonight, Maria Gennaro.
Thank you, Luke. And this is our second installment of Taking Back the Streets. As you said, we talked a lot about the kids last time, but we really didn't talk with them. So we're going to take some of their issues, some of their concerns, and some of their suggestions eventually back to the lawmakers and see what can be done. So tonight we want to explore from their point of view what they see as the problem. And there is a big one. So far, in the month of July, today's July 11th, 5 people have been murdered in Buffalo. So we really need to take action and hear some possible solutions and see what you see as the problem. And of course, Taking Back the Streets has taken on a life of its own at Channel 7. The whole Channel 7 family is involved in this project. Joining us this evening, Tracy Humphrey and also Joe Major. They will be assisting us, as well as many other staffers at Channel 7 from many, many different departments. This is a full station event.
No question about it. I think May was really the big month when we had the homicide rate was very high, and I think a lot of people found that extremely alarming, and people really started to pay attention. But there are a number of reasons, and as we say, we come together to have this discussion not because we think we're going to have all the answers here tonight, but this is really
just open dialogue
We're
and
just
take what you have to say to the others.
Yeah, you really do. And tonight we're going to hear from the young people who will talk about the hopelessness. They will talk about the fact that there's not a lot going on in the neighborhood. Are there enough programs, for example, to go to reach out? And we'll hear about that tonight as well.
We were just talking with some kids outside, and they're like, stop the violence. Well, how? And what is the violence? And why is there violence? And what is it over? Is it over drugs? Is it over money? What do you think? Brandon, you're with a group called Mad Dads, which stands for?
Men Against Destruction.
And what else?
Stand for a lot of things. They put mainly strong black men in the hood.
Okay, now you, before you joined Mad Dads, were kind of on a wayward path.
I was on my road to destruction.
You were selling drugs.
Selling drugs, robbing, stealing, whatever this, you know what I'm saying? Survive and eat, for real.
And I see you, okay, and I hope you take this in the right vein. You still kind of have a little bit of an attitude about you, but you've turned yourself around. What made you make that turn?
Because, man, over this year alone, I lost like about 10 of my friends. It's people that I chill with every day I can't even see no more. Just a lot of stuff. Like, man, the hood ain't what it used to be. It used to be you come outside, play kickball, play football, whatever. Now it ain't that no more. It's crack, weed, cigarettes, all that. It ain't right no more.
What do you see as the problem, though, Brandon?
I see the problem is it's too much in the hood. We got too many arguments, too many gunfights. We argue over little things, little stuff such as chains.
How easy is it to get a gun?
Easy, man. It all depends on who you know. If you know the right person, got the right money at the right time, got you a burner.
Luke?
All right, thank you very much. I'm kind of off over here. I'm going to come more in the middle. And
we want you guys also to think about it tonight as we go over this next hour, some solutions that you see. It's very easy to say, well, you got to get rid of the guns and the violence and the drugs. Fine. How do you do that? And why are they so plentiful to begin with? What's bringing on that problem? Why are so many people wanting to use drugs in the first place? Is it peer pressure? What is it? So we want you to think of some solutions also as we ask you some of these questions for this evening.
And we're going to hear from people from all different walks. And the thing is, for those of you out in the audience, please feel free to stand up. And if you have something that you want to add to this as well, I know it's kind of difficult sometimes to get these things started. But, think about, for example, some of the things that we'll be hearing about, well, my neighborhood is really tough. It's easier for me to go out and perhaps sell drugs. I can make more money at that. Why do I need to go get a job, work 8 hours all day long?
Let me ask you that. Someone up here in the audience, answer that for us. Why is it, well, not why is it, of course, it's easier, you make more money selling drugs than you do working a legitimate job. What do you think we have to do to turn that around so that people have incentive to go to work instead of making illegal money?
Actually, I honestly think it's because we don't get the chance to go into a job. They look at us, they say we're young, we don't have any experience. So because we don't have any experience, they say, well, maybe you should go somewhere else, get some experience. And because we can't go into a job and say, look, I have no experience, but I want to learn with you, they turn us away. And by turning us away, we actually go to stuff that's actually easier. It's easier to sell drugs than it is to get a job nowadays, and that's the honest truth.
Well, I don't know. We've had some people, and I'm going to be devil's advocate over here. I'm going to go on the other side. A lot of kids have a hard time finding a job. Did you finish school?
Yes, I did. I graduated this year.
You graduated this year. And are you going to college?
Yes, I am going to Buff State.
And what sort of job are you looking for?
Right now, actually, I work for Vector Company, and I sell knives. But to be honest, before then, when I tried a zillion times to get a job, every time I applied at Wegmans, I'm sure they took my application, they looked at it, oh, she's 17, and they put it away. They never called me. And that's the honest to God truth. And they do that to a lot of people.
So you say jobs are not plentiful enough. That's the problem.
It's not that they're not plentiful. It's that they're not giving them to kids that really want them, that really deserve them.
Do you think it's a racial thing?
I don't think it's a racial thing. I think it's just an age thing. They look at us, they think we're young, they think we have no experience, they think they don't know what they're doing. It's what they think.
You know, that kind of borders on what we've been hearing, a common theme about the lack of communication between adults and kids. There seems to be sort of a barrier there that we hear a lot about. Please, anyone, feel free to step in here on this. What exactly does that mean? We hear it all the time. The adults don't listen to us. We don't speak the same language. They don't want us involved in anything. They never listen to anything that we have to say. What is that? Tell us exactly what that means.
Well, I first look at the intergenerational gap that we seem to have in our community. And that falls in line when you look at our politicians, you look at our religious leaders, or you even look at our educators. And you have to look at the fact that the language that they're speaking from when they were growing up and the language in which we speak right now is a misunderstanding. And sometimes it takes for our elders to really step back, listen, and then try and translate so that you hear the need. Our young people aren't just speaking Ebonics, just to speak it. That's the way that they're communicating what they want, what they need. When I hear the young lady saying they don't get an opportunity, they go into a job, a place of employment looking for help so that they can get experience. They go into it looking for a chance to better themselves. And in this city, it seems like we are shut out of a lot of opportunities that could build us up to stay here in Buffalo. And then they wonder why we leave. So I think if we break down that communication barrier, we'll see a lot of more things open up.
Interesting point. We're going to go over to Tracy Humphrey now. Tracy?
Okay, I have Emmanuel here with me, and he actually has a comment that he wants to make.
Yes, what you were saying is true, that sometimes adults don't listen, and which is why sometimes that, like what she was saying, that sometimes people think that because you're a certain age that you're not experienced, that you don't know what's going on, but that's not true. Sometimes, like sometimes why this happens, because it's the lack of communication between adults and teens, and sometimes some adults feel that just because you're young you don't understand, but it's not true.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your comment.
Interesting.
With me here is Dwayne. He is the president of Mad Dads. First of all, tell us what Mad Dad stands for. I'm going to get on this side of you.
Mad Dad stands for Men Against Destruction, Defending Against Drugs and Social Disorder.
And you take these kids that are on their way out of detention homes and try to help them on the right path.
Yes, we do. We get a lot of kids. We go to the detention center on East Fair, and we go out to Alden every week, minister and talk to the young kids and see what they want. We listen to them. We ask them what do they need. We need to get in touch with their parents. We do all that. Whatever we can do to help the young kids grow.
Dwayne, what do you see as the problem? You deal with these kids every day. Is it jobs?
The problem is they have the opportunity is here for jobs, but the problem is they're not getting the jobs that they really need to pay $7 to $8 an hour and $10 an hour. Nobody want to work for $4 or $5 an hour.
But we all did growing up.
Yeah, we did back 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Now it's the new breed of young ladies and young men that need jobs.
But most people don't start off making $7, $8 an hour. I mean, I flip burgers at Burger King. I mean, you have to work your way up.
Yeah, well, we tell these kids today, you work for McDonald's today, tomorrow you can own McDonald's if that's what you choose to do. But what we have to do with our young kids, we have to learn to train these young kids before they go into a job opportunity, learn to give them the way for them how to talk, for them how to dress well when they're going for an interview.
So they're not being prepared, you say, in school then?
I'm not saying they're not being prepared in school. Sometimes it starts at home.
Right. So they need more preparation. You guys agree? Is that a problem here? Luke?
All right, thank you very much. I know I'm going to put you on the spot here, but you've been listening to it. Why don't you stand up so we can all see you? Tell us who you are.
Tanitra.
And I see you're an audience member here tonight, but you've been listening to some of this discussion. What do you think?
I think that we should have more programs for our young people. Like at the William Emsley YMCA, we like play in the gym, go swimming, and that'll keep all the kids off the streets. Even if you don't have the money to pay for it, they still let you in sometimes so you don't be on the streets.
Are there enough of these kinds of programs around?
I think if it was enough, we wouldn't have as many people on the streets.
And do you think that when you have a program like this, for example, that there should be varied interests, though? Because not everybody's interested in the same thing, right?
Yeah, but at the William Ramsey YMCA, we do more than just in the gym, and you can bring your radio, Discmans, whatever you want to do. You just off the streets.
But is that, I mean, that's not the total solution here. I mean, that's just part of it. What else do we need to do? What do we need to be doing here?
It's really the weapons. We need the parents to step in, and we need the police. We need help. We just don't need just the parents and the facilities in the neighborhood. We need more than just the parents.
We hear a lot about the weapons too, and we can, be talking about that some more in terms of how readily available they are. Joe Major, standing by with someone.
Now, I know you were listening to what was happening, and you were listening to some of the programs and things that are going on. What's your opinion? Are there enough programs going on right now?
Within a community, no. I think there aren't enough programs going on within a community, but as a school administrator, I think there are a lot of programs going on in the schools, and that our kids are not taking advantage of those programs because many of our students don't know that those programs exist. And I'm disheartened at the fact that they're not as involved, but we have programs actually at some of the high schools where students aren't even in them. They're empty. Some of the classes, the after-school programs, tutorial programs, job readiness skills that are being offered within the schools. And so I think that the lines of communication, as many of our young people have said tonight, the lines of communication between adults, parents, administrators, educators need to be open more so that they are aware of what's going on. But I definitely agree that within the community itself, we do need more centers like the YMCA and Crisis, the other centers around the neighborhood. We only have about 2 or 3 really good ones within the inner city. So I think we need more of that.
All right. Thank you very much, Maria.
Joan, I'm going to want to follow up on her question, or her answer, I should say, in just a few minutes. I want you to think about this. You say there are organizations and there are things to do, but you don't have the kids in there. Why is that? And I'm going to get back to you in just a moment. But first of all, I want to go over to Dawn. Dawn, you had something you wanted to contribute here.
I just wanted to say that we keep talking about programs, and first of all, the problem seems to me to be more than just about us not having jobs, or the youth not having jobs. It's bigger than that. There are a lot of programs. First of all, there's a lot of racism in Buffalo, and whether or not we address that, we can ignore it and keep ignoring it. But
no, we want you to say what you think.
But Buffalo is like I think it's the 3rd city in the United States with racism. That's the first thing. The second thing is we talk about programs. It's a lot of programs in Buffalo. It's a lot of programs that get money. But the trickle-down effect doesn't always go to our youth. We have a lot of youth programs that work, but there's not enough people involved. We keep looking like to an outside party to fix our communities.
So what do you
fix
need
them.
to fix?
We need more participation. We need some of our brothers to join Mad Dads or join whatever they can join.
So you're taking it back to the family again.
I'm taking it back to the family to a degree, but I'm also saying that all of these programs that are implemented, whether they're federal, state, city, or whatever, they have money there. But what happens is it seems like the money that gets put into these programs or into a plan, they don't come back to the youth as jobs. Like you'll have a program and let's say the money goes to a billboard or to T-shirts or stuff, and they don't go. That money should go to the youth for more jobs, or not necessarily maybe jobs, maybe training, or maybe entrepreneurship. So our youth can be self-sufficient.
That needs to be done back at the home with the parents.
It's a lot of things.
Schools. I mean, the family unit. If you really want to talk turkey here, the family unit is really a problem.
The family unit is a problem, but right now I'm talking about the programs, and I'm talking about how the money gets trickled down, and it's not. So we wouldn't have to go to Wegmans or McDonald's if we got the money that we're supposed to get.
All right. Go ahead.
Just to pick up on that, Shayla from the Boys and Girls Club is here as well, and you wanted to pick up on that thought. Tell us.
So, like she said, there's plenty of programs, but exactly how many kids are getting in trouble at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, when a lot of our programs close? You need to think about what they're doing later. A lot of kids are getting in trouble later in the night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, when they're out. They have nothing better to do but to hang out with their friends.
Why are they out at that hour?
Because there's nothing for them to do. There's
why aren't they home?
There's programs during the day. If you're 17, 18 years old, I know I'm not going to want to be in the house at 8 o'clock in the afternoon, right. What is there to do afterwards? A lot of programs close 8, 9 o'clock. We have nowhere to go but to hang out. what are you gonna do?
But that also comes back to the home life too, with whether it's two parents or a single parent, or in a lot of cases both parents are working, or the one parent in the house also has to go to work at different times throughout the day.
Jamar.
So are you saying that a lot of these kids who are kind of roaming around, whatever, there's no supervision at all?
They're not roaming around. It's just that I'm 17 years old and I know I'm not gonna go in the house at 8 o'clock at night. Especially in the summertime.
But that's kind of when the trouble starts, though.
Exactly, because
right
there's nothing for us to do.
So more
after.
youth
a lot of
clubs
programs,
and
a lot of programs close around that time.
Sheila, what do you need to do? Tell me what would interest you. What kinds of programs should be out there?
I mean, at least you should maybe keep your programs open to maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night. I mean, there's a lot of adults, you work all day and you're tired. But if you really want to keep your youth off the streets, you have to make an effort also.
All right, good point. Yeah.
Jamar over here has something to contribute. Jamar, what's your comment on this?
I also wanted to add it, the youth in the street, it's just not the parents in the city and the people that's trying to help them, it's the youth themselves. You gotta want to help yourself. You can't wait and tell somebody you gotta do right. You gotta do right on your own.
Jamar, do you think a lot of people are shuffling the blame and shouldering the blame onto someone else? It's their fault because there's no programs and this sort of thing? Or do you think we need to take more responsibility for our actions?
We do, yes. As a black man, I think we do. I see a lot of children on the street late at night. I could be coming home from school. They out there selling drugs, drinking, doing what they want to do. The parents in the house, they don't take control of their children. And if the parents not going to take control of the children, who are? You don't want your son or your daughter to be in the police, in the jail cells. You got to want to do it for yourself. You got to have more programs like this, team summits like this here at the Wisely MCA. You need to have more summits, have more youth and children just come out and talk about these issues, because you don't want to see yourself or see your family members locked up. So take the time out just to talk to them and help them out some more. And as far as getting jobs and things like that, most of that comes from stereotype. You see all these children in the street doing bad things, and then when us as people go up to jobs and try to apply for something, they look at us and they look at the black youth or the people and see how we act, and that's how they take that we can act.
Go ahead. What did you want to say?
Yeah, comment what he said, stereotypes and all that. I mean, you going to get an application at a job and you bring it back. They don't want to call you back because they look at you. They look at me. I got braids and I got jeans. I'm a thug already. You know what I mean?
But I'm going to be devil's advocate here. When I was looking for a job, and I don't want to keep going back to this, but you have to dress and you have to look at it a certain way. When you do go look for a job, you can't, according to society, we're living in society. Why is that the problem?
That's our heritage right there. We've been braiding hair since before we even came to this land. And if we can't take back our heritage, then it's nothing else to worry about.
Well, I'm not talking about braiding hair. I'm talking about going in.
But that's a stereotype. The way that they're dressed is a whole generation.
But what you say, the way you dress, is a reflection upon yourself. And so
a reflection according to who?
To society.
A society problem. It's not just a family problem. It's not just a financial problem.
It's a societal.
society problem. I should be able to walk into any job I want to with my head wrap and go into an interview, right?
No.
Why not?
Why not?
Because why should society have to change?
Because society should accept the culture in which we're living in. This is the hip-hop culture that we're living in.
But I'd like to wear jeans and sneakers every day.
This is the hip-hop culture that we're living in now. And as far as this hip-hop culture is concerned, they're going to represent the time and the era in which they're living in. And if society can't accept that, then society is going to continue to lose what they're losing, which is this generation.
So basically, yeah. This is kind of a growing process as well, okay?
Yes,
everybody has to kind of learn each other's moves, so to speak, and as you say, figure out what culture is all about. Tina Marie from the Yo program.
Yes, hi. I'm saying that the appearance to me doesn't mean anything. It's what's in your brains and what you know and how you can do the skills and what you can do on that job. It's not the way you dress. If I go in and I want to find me a job, no matter how I come in, I can come in with yellow hair, but my yellow hair ain't going to tell you how much I know about that job.
But it's going to reflect to other people.
Reflects or nothing. Reflects anything, no.
However, you have to show etiquette.
No, I don't feel that way. I feel that, like I said, if you got the skills, you went to school. If you go to school, they tell you how to dress and everything like that. If you go to school and you learn and you go out of years of school and you paying your money, and if you got the skills to do what you got to do, then you do it.
Hold that thought. Don't go anywhere, because I want to send it over to Tracy Humphrey.
That's what we wanted. Was an open discussion.
Keep that thought. We're going to come back to that as well. Tracy. Joe? We're going to go to Joe instead. Okay.
Go to Joe instead.
There you go, Joe.
Okay. What's your name and what?
Kenny. I'm the vice president of Mad Dads. What Zola is saying is actually right. Yesterday we was on a street patrol, and we just so happened to be patrolling the Ferry and Wohlers area. And stereotyping is a big issue why our young brothers and sisters is not getting jobs. We rolled up on the block, and it was a couple police officers just harassing, this lady on the porch with her children. And him, by just seeing me the way I'm dressed, he didn't recognize me as a man out in the community trying to take a stand. He actually had the nerve to tell me to stop doing what I'm doing and to go get a job. You know what I'm saying? Just on my appearance. And just by him looking at me, he just stereotyped me like I was just somebody out on the block, him not knowing that I'm a whole program director and make much more money than he do. You know what I'm saying? But he automatically stereotyping. Now, just like Zola said, you know what I'm saying? And I understand what you're saying about society, but what society is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? When these kids go for jobs and all that, they're not thinking about, you know what I'm saying, what the politicians doing downtown. They're not thinking about, what government is saying, all that. They're thinking about the here and now and what they live and breathe every day. And that's how they carry themselves. So I think what should happen is some acceptance from these adults, you know what I'm saying, and some type of, if you want them, you know what I'm saying, to try to look a certain way or act a certain way, they're not going to do it, you know what I'm saying, when that's not where they come from. You know what I'm saying? I think the adults, in the community and the men and the women need to start training these kids and showing these kids, you know what I'm saying, what time it is, how to dress and how to look. And I don't think braids should be a factor in how somebody get a job or a head wrap. That's corny.
All right, thank you. Tracy?
Okay. We have Raphael here, and he actually has a comment that he wants to make about stereotypes.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, they judge us by the way we look, not by the way we are. And if they would just sit down and listen to what we have to say, and not just look at us and think, okay, just because of the way he dresses, we can't get a job like that. They should sit down and listen to what we have to say. And if they notice that we're not just dressing like this we dress like this for a reason. We don't just do it because we ain't got nothing else better to do.
Why do you dress like that?
I just do it because that's the style,
Expression?
Yeah, just to express myself. I like dressing like this, But if people would sit down and listen, judge a person by, how they, not how they look, but, how they are on the inside.
But have you run into any adults that are judging you by what's in the inside? There are some adults out there.
A lot of people, a lot of people do sit down and they listen to what I have to say, and then they see, they see that I'm smart. I'm not I could be, like in the street. I can be a thug. I can be ghetto. But when it comes to like school, when it comes to something being important, I don't have to be all with an attitude. I can be just what I have to do. You got to do what you got to do.
Good. Thank you.
I've heard that said before many times. You have to do what you have to do. Steve from Mad Dads is here. He's in the front row. Steve, what did you want to say about this?
Well, a lot of the images that are portrayed and what people see, I don't want to attack the media, but
go ahead.
I've never once seen a newsflash: a black student graduates from college, gets his master's degree. But if I kill somebody, I've never once been on the news for any award I ever had. If I kill somebody, they have my face guilty, I'll be all over the news.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think under any circumstances would a newscast ever lead with someone graduating college unless it was someone, I guess, extremely
not
certain.
Not graduating college, but you do it for the suburbs. I see Mary Kate Sue. I see them on the news all the time, getting awards, Super 7, and all types of stuff. But all people see in the black community.
Let's get to what you're talking about here. Let's not pull any punches.
Okay.
You think the media is racist?
No, the media is not racist. But what the media decides to show from the black community is only when someone's shot, when someone's wanted. This may be on the news. This is good that it's a teen summit for the black people, for whatever it's for
all
to try to
people.
take the streets back. But how are we going to take the streets back when all little kids see, or if they do decide to watch the news, is someone being killed? It's to the point where we can't go for a job because an older person or someone out in the suburbs, they watch the news like, oh no, they're killers.
I don't want to open this up to everybody here, but I understand what you're saying, and you make a good point. Let's not drift away from the issue too much, because we are here to talk about the violence and guns and weapons, and we hear all the time about how easily you can go out there on the street and get weapons. Let's talk about that. How easy is it? Can you just go down the street and get one? Where do you go?
I don't need weapons. I don't go look for them.
But I'm saying for some of these kids who say, hey, I can walk down the street and I can get a gun. Is it that easy?
I guess so. I mean,
What have you seen
I can't speak on it because I ain't the one to go get a gun and kill somebody in the first place. That's not what I represent.
Right.
So do you
You're with
think
the
what
YO
Steve-
program, right?
Yeah.
Do you think what Steve was saying, you need more role models? No, that's what he was saying. He was saying that.
in the city right about now.
Why is that?
Because I haven't really seen too many people. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see some heads here who have really opened their arms. But to even approach a young man like this who's sitting there saying, I don't go look for it, and yet we still try and ask him, do you know how it gets done? Come on, open your arms and understand that this is one of the few. And what I'm trying to say is, right here in front of us, these are the few that's out there trying to do something. Now, after this, which one of y'all are going to make a personal commitment to make sure that they get in a job? Which one of y'all going to make the personal commitment to make sure that they have somewhere to go? You know, it's
Well,
kind of like sending a challenge out.
Well, that's what we're doing, and we're going to
See,
bring it to the
listen, the
line.
reason we bring this up is because we hear all the time from people that, guns are out there. You can
But
get
the
them
city
easily.
know that 300 guns was brought into the city. They know where they came from. They probably know where they went. Then we had the sheriffs, we had the state troopers, we had the cops rolling.
Right.
We had more deaths while they were in our city.
But nobody started passing out any bulletproof
Come
vests.
on now. They didn't do anything about it. They didn't shut anything down. They didn't
So you
catch
thought that was
anybody.
just
it was
all
a
for
joke.
show?
It was
Just
a joke.
show?
They should have just declared martial law and called it a day. But they didn't do that. They just tried to put us. They just tried to put fear in our young people.
So
To
what
have
are
them-
you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything but God,
But I mean,
because
in
that's
the
the person who
community.
put me here.
What do you see as the big fear in the community?
What I see a fear in the community when I look at my son and I look at the young people in which I consider to be my fam. I see that they're afraid of not being able to achieve in this city. And I really can't speak for other cities, but I can speak for right here where I live.
Mm-hmm.
I see a fear of
How
them.
old is your son?
My son right here, he's 8 years old. And to my death, I'll make sure that he achieves whatever it is that he needs to achieve. But that's the fear in this city. There's no, they look for a future, and it's kind of like, where am I going to go? To Tops? That's not a future.
Thank you.
That's not a future. Tops won't even come into our community, but yet y'all want us to go work for them. It don't work.
Point taken. Joe Majors has someone right now.
Rhonda, you had something to say.
Yes, I have a major issue. I know on the east side, I just moved back from the suburbs to Buffalo because I like Buffalo and there are good things in Buffalo. But all of these guns you talk about the kids have access to, there are no gun stores on the east side. So how are they getting over there? There are no poppy seeds grown or fields on the east side. So where is that coming from? It's like it's put there for a reason to bring our kids down. So it's so easy for them to get it. Something is bad and it's so easy to get. Think about that. What's the purpose of it? If it's so, bad and doing all of this, which it is, Black people are killing themselves with this, but this stuff is not, they don't have the gun stores. They're not growing the poppy seeds, making crack, making cocaine. Someone is putting that there, making it easy for them to get it.
So who's putting it there?
I don't know. It's not them because there's nothing on the
What do
east
you
side
think?
that says that there are gun stores there or poppy seeds. There's nothing on the east side to indicate to me that you can go somewhere on the east side and grow these things.
But you have to have an opinion on who you think brings it into the community.
We all know who brings it into the community because to me it's a gimmick. It's like a game. Let them kill themselves. To me, it's a way of bringing Black people down. I'm not from Buffalo. I'm from New York City, and to me, Buffalo is very racist. Excuse me. And it's like it's a way of keeping Black people down.
Okay, we know that. Okay, go ahead, okay. Stacey. All right, we're going to go to Luke.
Or the powers that be, what have you, they bring it in there for us to poison our hoods, poison our babies, poison our mamas, and they got us programmed to the fact that the morality of our hood is gone. People are in despair. There's nothing to do, and they say, "Oh, give them a program." Programs ain't gonna do it. It's different. It's spiritual. Our spirit is gone. What we got to do is come together, take community control of what's ours, raise the spirit in our own hood, and elevate ourselves so we can come through as a people. That's what's gonna stop the violence.
Let me play devil's advocate with you. People are going to be watching this. A lot of
I'm getting
people
hot,
outside of
man.
Buffalo,
I'm getting hot, man, for
in the
real.
suburbs, are going to be watching this, and they're going to say, "Did anyone break your arm to pick up the gun?
That's right.
Does anybody tell you to put the pot in your mouth? Why do you do it? Why does it happen? What are you going to say to that?"
Anybody tell you to capitalize on the misfortune of black people?
Thank you.
No, but what we're saying is what?
I mean,
Who's telling you to?
let's really look at it. If we're going to start talking about what people have a choice to do and what people don't have a choice to do, we don't have a choice. All we see, we could talk about what you had, that little dramatization that first came on, the same one when y'all did the first one. All that drama, that's all we see. So obviously, that's all we're going to perpetuate. If all we see is negative, we're not going to do anything positive unless we make a personal commitment to ourselves. And it's real hard if you think about it. If all you see is nothing but shootings and killings, if all you see is drugs, if all you see is sheriffs coming into your hood, if the drugs don't get you and the guns don't get you, well, the sheriff's going to shoot you down. Okay?
But let's get back to your statement.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Darnell, go ahead.
To me, when it come down to it, it's all about jobs. Because don't nobody really got money. And our parents tell us to go work for what we want. Because when we get a certain age, they feel like we can do for ourselves and buy our own clothes. But $5 an hour is not going to buy our expensive clothes. Shirts today is like $80. You working $5 an hour.
First of all, we're making it sound like it's a black, white thing. It's not about racist. It's not about racism. And no, it's not. Because we have Hispanics, we have white people in the same situation. It has nothing to do about who you are, for one. And for two, $80 shirts, I think that is ridiculous, okay? $80 shirts, I'll slap my name on a t-shirt and you buy it off of me for $80. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I am so sorry. That's how you're ridiculous. It's not a drug thing. We cannot get it.
I'm gonna look at it like this.
I'm sorry.
One at a time, so we can hear you.
Okay, I'm looking at it like this. Okay, y'all talking about what drugs and how guns is. Life is just like a big test. They put it out there for us to get. So all we doing is we're following it. We falling dead in it. That's what they want us to do. So if we don't do it, then they can't turn back and look at us. Oh, we made them do this and this and this. They ain't make us do nothing. That's our choice. If the choice is, okay, we go do this and this and that, then that's what they're gonna want us to do. They put that in there just like the lady right here said. The guns, the drugs, every bad thing, violence thing that comes around. It's right. It's mostly black people. But you don't see no white person on there, or you don't see no Latino person on there saying anything or doing anything about what's going on. Like the agency I'm for the Mad Dads. And the reason why I'm from the Mad Dads and the reason why I'm working with the Mad Dads because they help me. They also will help you or anybody else who would want to help, but it's up to y'all to come get it.
So you have to make the first step. Let's go over to Tracy. She has someone here too also that wants to make a statement.
I have Kaylin here, and you have a comment that you wanted to make.
Yeah, basically the comment I wanted to make is it's not the programs, but it's also the people because they getting their guns from their moms or dads. It's not stores and stuff out there. But another thing is there is good programs. You need things or someone to help you out with it, and you need more stuff like this, the big on TV or something, commercials, and maybe people will say, oh, that's a good place to send their son or daughter, so they'll send them there like YMCA, because I go to the Boys and Girls Club of Buffalo, and they have plenty of good programs. I went to a job ready program. I went through all different kinds of programs to keep me off the street, and I stayed there, and now I'm working there. So pretty much it's a good place to go. It's plenty of good places, and it's plenty of things that help you out, and some of the same people is going through the things you went through. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
We've been hearing a lot tonight, too, about, role models, lack thereof. I'm joined by Brandon. He's a graduate of City Honors High School. Are there role models out there?
Yes, there are, but the thing is, there's not a resurgence of them in this community. In my 13 years of schooling, I have not had one black male teacher. And there was an article in the newspaper just last week about the lack of male teachers and the lack of minority teachers because they understand where we come from. The thing is, though, it also comes back to the foundation of home as well, because of the fact that if the parents or the parent can't control a student, their son or daughter, when they go to the school, it's going to be the same way. And there needs to be some kind of foundation there before they go into the school. There also needs to be some community, like you said, some community groups, but also the block clubs. If every every neighborhood had a block club that would do some community watching or some things at 11 o'clock at night or just some other opportunities, even the churches as well, to do some things.
So in your 13 years of going through school, you said you didn't have a role model? There was no one there to look up to?
I've never had a black male teacher or a role model like that. I've been blessed because it's not the norm, but I've had 2 parents in my house. And they've basically kept me out of the trouble. But
yeah, let's talk about that, okay? That's something, I wanted to get into here, but the fact that that family life at home, having 2 parents, in your case, has made a real difference.
Yes, it has. But the thing is, even the families that don't have 2 parents, there are the community groups like Mad Dads and different little groups, Crisis, that can help prevent destruction and negative images of black people.
Let's have a show of hands here. How many have 2 parents at home? Raise your hand. Not too many.
Would you say you have none?
Mom and my dad.
So
Well, wait a minute,
those of you with a 1 parent, tell us how that's affected your life.
Brandon says he has no parents, and you think that's had an effect on you?
Has it had an effect on my life? In a way it has, in a way it hasn't. Even though I didn't have no parents, I was still smart enough to know I gotta eat every day. I gotta wash my body every day. I gotta handle my business. So with that, people say it ain't enough programs in the hood. It's programs in the hood. It's all about if you gonna go out and get them programs. Like me, I roll with the Mad Dads. Those are my people. I get down with them. But at the same time, in between time, I roll with the Youth Opportunity Program. The Mad Dads, they open up some doors, but the Youth Opportunity open up some doors too. They open up the doors to see the hood ain't what it's all about. The hood is corrupting me. But at the same time, in between time, with the Youth Opportunity Program, they open up the doors. They send me to job readiness classes. They have speakers come and talk to me personally, not just a group. They come talk to you individually to make sure you get the understanding. You know what I mean?
Tell me what it was like when you, and I commend you. I commend you, Brandon, because it has to be very difficult. You've had no supervision, as you were saying, and you've turned yourself around. What was it like when you were growing up, when you were younger?
Man, when I was growing up, man, it was either you live in the street or you die out in the street. You know what I mean? So me, I lived the street life, man. I'm only 19 and did 16 months of my life is gone. 16 months I can't even see again because I chose to play out in the street. So now when I'm out here, all I do, come on, man, I'm about to get this money and have fun, man. For real, man. I'm about to get, man, like that's why I say, man, I roll with 2 heads, man. Like my man Tracy right there. My man Tracy tell me, man, it's everything around me, it's all negative, man. It's all negative, but it's on me to rise up out and be positive, because if I don't rise up out, I am what I am.
Tracy Humphries.
Here's Tracy now. Stand up, Tracy.
Joe.
Everybody here knows you, huh?
Yeah, they know me. My big thing with the youth is that I'm able to come down to their level. And I think that's what you're hearing now is the complaints, is that people need to come down to their level. You have to come down and understand what they're going through. And I mean, where I can relate is that I come from a single parent home. So when you say that it's the single parent homes that are doing it, that's not the case, because I come from a single parent home. I have a master's degree. So you can rise out of it. And that's what I practice what I preach. You can rise up out of it. I'm that example. I'm just happy that you said that. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to make it.
All right, Tracy, let's go over to Joe Major.
Tamara, you want to talk a little bit about role models?
Yes, I just wanted to say that growing up in the hood nowadays is very hard. It's extremely hard. It's like it seems like no matter how hard you try, you always seem to get pulled down into the negative things. And that's why we need role models, positive ones, people we can look up to, people we want to be like, so we can rise up out of these things. And it's just like,
What kinds of things are pulling you down?
I don't know, it's just like you see people, I want to be friends with, people you think are cool because they sell drugs, they make money, and you want to be just like them. But you got to find that person that's educated and nice and does what they have to do and make that money and be just like them.
So you mean positive role models?
Yes.
Are you finding the positive role models more in the media or out where you are in your neighborhoods?
Actually, as a member of the Boys and Girls Club, I can say the directors there are people, they're young people, but they've done a lot for the community and things. They're like really, really into it. And they love the children, what they're doing. And it's like, no matter how hard it is, they're still there to help the children out.
Thank you, Tamara. Tracy?
Okay, we have Mia here, and you had a comment that you wanted to make about commitment.
Yes, I understand what Brandon was saying because in the last month alone, I've known 4 people who have been killed, and we can yell "Stop the violence" and guns are bad, and we can have countless events like this. But if you're not willing to take the same attitude when you leave here, you can have fun on TV, you can like we care, but if you leave here and you're not feeling this, then all of this is for nothing. You have to come away with the attitude that you want to make a change and that you want to change the stuff that's going around, and like the camera people too. You can do all this stuff and say, okay, guns is bad and ask all these questions. But if you're not leaving here concerned and willing to change something, to go out to actually like evangelize the people that there are opportunities, then
Okay,
this is all for nothing.
I'm gonna say something. I was one of the people that was raised with their mother and father in the same home. My mother and father have been together for the last 25 years. I had a grandmother and I had other people to help me. I had falling parts. I did a lot of falling, but they always told me, Tina, get up and do your own. Do what you got to do. I'm a single black parent. I have a 2-year-old son. I'm only 21 years old, but that's good. But I also finished school at Kensington when I was 17 years old. So now I was walking down the street one day and I ended up at the basketball court. Yo, Buffalo have people that walk around and come get you off the streets and put you in the program. They came and got me off the streets. I wasn't on the streets, but I was out there doing nothing, but I had stuff in my mind that I wanted to do. When I went to Yo Buffalo, they opened me up. They made me speak. I never speak in front of people because I'm nervous. I'm nervous now. But they let me speak. They believed in me. I write poems. They actually let me write a play. I've been in Yo Buffalo for about a month. They sent me to Washington. They sent me to Washington to a light program that I never thought that I would be there. I never thought that I would be here today, but I'm here. I'm here because my mother told me, my father told me, and my grandmother told me. They always told me, Tina, be an independent person. Never depend on this person, never depend on this person. Only way you're going to live your life and be where you got to be is if you do it yourself.
I'm over here with Jamar, and you wanted to talk a little about the parenting and the role models at home as well.
Yeah, I don't believe that it's the parents' fault for what the kids are going out there doing, because the parents are not telling the kids to go out and kill somebody. It's not their fault. And I'm from my mother. I just live with my mother and 2 sisters and a brother. And my mother tell me the rights and wrongs. Tell me don't smoke, don't go, be in gangs and stuff. And that's why I'm who I am right now, because I know not to do, I know not to go hang with no gang, hang with the wrong crowd. Like if I hang with the wrong crowd, my mother's going to put me to the side and say, Jamar, leave that crowd alone. Go hang with somebody else.
The temptation is great out there for a lot of kids, though, to kind of, cling to someone.
Yeah, but I know the right from wrong, too.
Okay, Jamar, thank you very much. The other thing is, it's amazing how fast an hour can go by. I'm told I think we have 8 minutes remaining in the broadcast.
I want to get to Ashley because she has not been able to say anything just yet. Ashley, you had a comment that you wanted to make.
I wanted to say how all this violence and stuff, and there should be more programs, things like that. But I'm saying you got to make it more interesting for people. You got to you got to get down to people, see what they like. Maybe they'll be more interested in it. But as far as the parenting go, because I've just got my mother, but I've also got my father too. And I'm saying, with my mother, just living with my mother and my brother and my sister, she raised us right, she brought us up right, and she's telling us that we should experience things. That she can't just tell us what's right, what's wrong. We got to figure out things for ourselves as well.
So you had a good parent. You have good parenting.
It was pretty good.
You have good parents who are being. I mean, you had a nice role model. You had good parents who looked out for you. My mother is my main role model. Jeffrey, you had something you wanted to say?
Okay, earlier y'all was saying it's the youth and everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm 19. I just turned 19 years old yesterday.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, I ain't go front. I don't sell drugs and none of that. But like 2 months ago, some gangs came to my school. You know what I'm saying? And was fighting everything, then jumping out the windows. Ain't no teachers and none of that helping us in our school. On some real stuff.
What is it like in the schools nowadays?
Yeah, we go to Kingston. We go to Kingston.
Us three.
That's the most stereotypical
You know what I'm saying?
school you ever heard of.
Tell me about it.
Because we got egg ties, we got drugs, and all that.
Nobody cares about it. I say it's about a handful of teachers that care about it. We got 2 teachers, Miss Reynolds and Miss Morrell. That was like another mother, you know what I mean? We can go there, we can get in trouble, and they come up and popping us in our head talking about, what is you doing, you know what I mean? That's like another mother to us, you know what I mean?
So aside from them, you say you can just kind of do whatever you want. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask you one thing? Okay, our seniors, didn't nobody call us to tell none of the seniors that we graduated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can. You know what I'm saying? 25% of seniors had graduated at Ken this year because of the math programs.
Right.
Okay, I don't see no parents and no teachers or none of y'all helping us with the programs at all. And people are not going to want to come to school because they feel they're going to get beat up or jumped or get robbed.
Fail.
You know what I'm saying? Or fail.
I talked to someone once, and tell me if he was right or wrong. He told me a lot of people decide not to go to school because of the dress code. That not dress code as far as, but if they don't have the proper school. Did you hear that?
Yeah, me. I totally disagree with what you just said. It's not the parent and teacher's fault about people failing math and people failing all that. That's your problem. Because I'm only a junior and I passed that on my first try. And I'm only 16 years old and I'm about to be a senior. I'm well on my way to college. I don't got nothing to worry about my senior. So I totally disagree.
Yeah, done that, but I'm saying everybody can't, I mean, everybody's not like that, you know what I mean? Okay, hold on. Everybody can't get with you, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, what's your best subject? Say math, right? It's math. That's not everybody else's best subject, yo. Everybody can't get math like you can get it.
Yeah. Okay, we got James here. Let's hear James.
And I still pass.
Okay, I want to comment on the parent part. See, my father died when I was 3. See, my mother raised me like for 18 years by herself. You can't just blame it all on the parents, you know what I mean? It starts with the love. If you ain't got the love at home, they're going to go somewhere else and get the love, you know what I mean? So when they looking out there and they say, oh, my man, he got my back. So that's where all the violence going to start right there. So he's saying he got my back, but you got to go back home and get the love. If you ain't got it at home, you ain't got it nowhere else. They're going to go out there and look for it.
Well, then
Okay, Jen.
It goes back to the streets.
Tracy, where are you? Go ahead.
Right here. I'm right here. We have a comment also about parenting, and we have Kevin here. Kevin, what was your comment?
Yes, I think a part of our problem is control between parents and teens. I don't think that it's enough control between the parents and the teens. It's like I came up with good parents, and they always trusted me about being independent. And like everybody up here saying how it's our fault that we failing and stuff, that's true. That's very true. Because we make these decisions. Our parents don't make these decisions. They tell us at home not to join gangs, not to carry guns, not to do drugs. When we get in the street, we see videos and all this and stuff. We want to be Jadakiss and all these people. We go out and get the clothes they wear. We figure they got guns and all of this, so we get guns, and that's our choice. That's all on us. That's not on our parents. So that's basically what I had to say.
Yeah, you know what? We're
running out of
down to
time.
minutes here now, okay? So before we get out of this, we want to make sure that we're focused on why we're here to begin with, and that's to stop the violence. So I want to talk to the panel here. We want to kind of poll you about what one thing you would be able to do to help stop the violence in this community. Give us your thoughts on that.
Hold on.
One at a time. Go ahead.
It's not a point about what you can do. It's what you're going to do.
Okay. What are you going to do?
It's not a point what I'm going to do, because what I do is for everybody. For myself, for anybody in here, downtown. What I do is for everybody.
Okay.
It's not a point about what you're going to do. It's about how you can do it and when you can do it right then and there.
Okay. So
we have
what is it
people-
then?
What is
Anybody?
it?
Yeah. What?
I did something. I wrote a play. It's called A New Beginning. I wrote a play. It's all about violence. What we're trying to do is make the violence stop. So I wrote a play, and it's going to be at your schools later on because Tracy helped me, and James also, and Lynn and Anisha. They helped me. We're writing a play, and it's going to make the violence stop. Hopefully, my play will get through your kids' minds, and so y'all can stop this violence.
Okay. Next to the back there. Go ahead.
Okay, I think part of the solution is, again, us not. We had our parents, all of our elders looking to an outside source to fix the problems within our community. It starts with us. Our parents, let's not take the punk way out. All of us need to get together, and it don't matter what group you join a group, and let's start pulling together. That's all it takes.
Mark, what do you think?
I honestly don't think you can stop the violence, you know what I mean? It's a way you can slow it up, I mean, if everybody was to work together, there's ways you can slow it. It's going to be ignorant people out there that's just going to keep doing your violence. There ain't no way you can stop the violence. Each person.
Also, you know what? I think what I'm going to do, I've already been working with youth, having Sister to Sister Day, working with 7 to 18-year-olds. But I think I'm going to have to create a new billboard. Instead of saying what yellow is supposed to mean, I think we are going to go ahead and build something that fits more of what's really going on to what we can relate to. Because yellow, if it's going to mean something, then that's what it needs to mean. But yet we spent mad money on doing that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to recreate our images on our street.
All right, Steve.
All right. So far we've talked about jobs, programs, and whatever else we need. But yeah, who's here? Who are we talking to? Who's gonna help us get these things? I don't see anybody. Who's here that's gonna do those things for us?
Well, we're hoping that there are people out there watching. Yeah,
So why not?
Right.
But why they're not here with us?
They can't do that. They see it as, if you want to stop the violence, if you want to be somebody, then you be your own role model. Don't look to somebody else to be somebody. You look within yourself, and you become somebody yourself.
Regardless if you looking inside yourself to be a role model, you also gonna need, that adult too. Because some people, they don't have a male figure in their life.
All right. You know what? I wish we had another couple of hours, but we really don't here. We got to kind of wrap things up. I'm so sorry. I wish we had another hour. We're going to continue to do this kind of thing, but I think we were able to take away a few things here. Don't you think, Maria?
Definitely. And a lot of the points that were made tonight will be seen by lawmakers and leaders in the community, and hopefully something can be done. But we had a frank discussion, sometimes a little bit heated, but it was frank and open, and that's what we were striving for this evening.
Yeah, and a lot of it, going into this was what do the youth want, what kind of communication, lines of dialogue, and so forth. And I think perhaps we touched on that a little bit.
I think we did. And we're going to continue on with Taking Back
Got
the
another one
Streets.
coming up next month. Thank you for joining us. Good night.